Sometimes life becomes quiet. Not peaceful quiet, but heavy quiet. The kind of silence that follows long waiting. The kind of silence that comes after unanswered prayers. You wake up hoping today will be different, but everything feels the same. No sign, no direction, no confirmation, just silence. And in that silence, your heart starts asking questions. Is God listening? Did he hear me? Did I do something wrong? Why does nothing change? Silence can feel uncomfortable. It removes certainty. It removes reassurance. It leaves space for doubt to speak. But silence is not always empty. Sometimes, silence is where God works the deepest. Not everything God does is loud. Not everything he builds is visible right away. Some of his most important work happens quietly, slowly, without announcement, without explanation. Just because you don't see movement does not mean nothing is happening. Just because you don't hear God does not mean he has stopped working. Silence does not mean absence. Silence does not mean neglect. Silence often means preparation. Right now, even if you feel stuck, God is active. Even if you feel forgotten, God is present. Even if everything feels delayed, God is still on time. Take a moment, breathe slowly. You are not alone in this silence. God is here, working quietly. When God is silent, it can feel personal, as if your prayers were ignored, as if your faith wasn't strong enough, as if you were forgotten. But God's silence is never rejection. It is never punishment. It is never indifference. God does not withdraw because you failed. He does not turn away because you questioned. He does not leave because you are tired. Silence is not God stepping back. It is God working deeper. There are moments when words are not enough. Moments when explanations would only confuse. Moments when answers would arrive too early. So God chooses silence, not to hurt you, but to protect you. Not to abandon you, but to prepare you. Some prayers cannot be answered immediately because the answer requires growth. Some doors cannot open yet because you are still becoming stronger. Some blessings must wait until your heart is ready to carry them. God sees what you cannot see. He knows what would break you if it came too soon. So, he waits. And in that waiting, he shapes you. He strengthens your faith without you noticing. He teaches you trust without words. He builds endurance without applause. Silence is uncomfortable because it asks you to trust without proof, to believe without confirmation, to stay faithful without reassurance. And that kind of faith moves heaven. God is not silent because he is distant. He is silent because he is intentional. Every pause has purpose. Every delay has meaning. Nothing is wasted. Not even this silence. In silence, God often changes things inside you before he changes things around you. Because transformation always starts within. You may be asking God to change your situation, but God may be working to change your perspective. You may be asking for an open door, but God may be building the strength you'll need once that door opens. Silence gives space for reflection. It slows you down. It removes distractions. It forces you to listen not with your ears, but with your heart. In noise, we react. In silence, we grow. God uses quiet seasons to teach patience, to teach humility, to teach dependence on him rather than on outcomes. When everything is loud, it is easy to mistake activity for progress. But silence reveals what truly matters. It shows you what you rely on. It exposes fear. It strengthens trust. In this season, God is not asking you to understand everything. He is asking you to remain faithful, to stay present, to keep believing even when nothing seems to move. Silence invites you to surrender control, to release timelines, to let go of expectations that were never meant to define you. God's work is not rushed. He is not pressured by time. He is not stressed by delays. What feels slow to you is perfectly paced to him, and while you wait, he is aligning details you will only understand later. This silence is not empty. It is full of purpose, full of preparation, full of quiet strength. Waiting can feel heavy. It can feel like standing still while the world moves forward. You see others advancing, growing, receiving answers, and you wonder why your season feels different. But God does not compare paths. He customizes journeys. What works for others may not be what you need. What looks fast may not be stable. What appears successful may not be sustainable. God knows exactly what kind of foundation your future requires, and strong foundations are built slowly, silently, without attention. God is not delaying you to frustrate you. He is anchoring you so you don't collapse later. Some storms you will survive easily because of what God built in this quiet season. Some challenges won't break you because silence taught you resilience. What feels like nothing is actually preparation. What feels like stillness is actually reinforcement. God is strengthening your faith without announcing it. He is deepening your trust without showing results yet. And one day, you will face something that once terrified you and realize you are no longer the same person. That strength was built here, in this silence, in this waiting, in this season you wanted to escape. God does not waste waiting seasons. He uses them to build people who can carry blessings without losing themselves. Stay here. Stay faithful. This season is working for you, even if you don't feel it yet. Silence tests something important. Not your strength, not your intelligence, but your trust. It asks a simple question. Will you trust God even when you don't understand Him? Will you stay faithful when there is no reassurance? Will you keep believing without constant confirmation? Silence removes control. It forces you to release timelines, to let go of expectations you attach to outcomes. And that is uncomfortable, because control feels safe. But control is not faith. Faith begins where certainty ends. God invites you to trust His character when you cannot trace His actions, to believe in His goodness even when circumstances feel confusing. This kind of trust is not loud. It is quiet. It is steady. It is deep. It does not demand answers. It rests in relationship. Silence strengthens this trust. It strips away faith based on results and replaces it with faith rooted in who God is, not what He does, not how fast He moves, but who He remains. God is consistent even when life is not. He is faithful even when outcomes are unclear. He is present even when words are absent. Silence is where your faith matures. It grows roots. It becomes unshakable, because it is no longer built on signs, but on trust. And that kind of faith cannot be easily broken. There are things God does that you will never see. Battles. He fights quietly. Doors He closes gently. Paths He blocks silently. You often pray for what you want to receive, but God also works to protect you from what would harm you. Silence is often protection. Protection from timing that would overwhelm you. Protection from outcomes you are not meant to carry. Protection from paths that look good, but lead nowhere. God sees consequences you cannot imagine. He sees futures you cannot predict. So He intervenes quietly, without warning, without explanation, without noise. You may feel disappointed when something doesn't work out, but one day, you will realize what God saved you from. Silence hides mercy. It hides grace. It hides wisdom. God's love is not always loud. Sometimes it is gentle restraint. Sometimes it is quiet redirection. Sometimes it is unanswered prayer. And though it hurts now, it is shaping a safer future. Trust the silence. Trust the protection. Trust the God who sees beyond this moment. He is not withholding from you. He is guarding you. Even now. Even here. Silence also teaches you how to rest, not because everything is resolved, but because you learn to trust God without constant movement. Rest is not giving up. Rest is choosing to stop forcing. It is releasing the need to make things happen. It is allowing God to work without interference. Silence invites you to slow down, to breathe, to notice what you usually ignore: your body, your thoughts, your fears, your hopes. When everything is quiet, you become aware of what lives inside you. And God gently begins to heal those places you never had time to face, wounds you covered with busyness, questions you avoided with distraction. Silence removes the noise so healing can begin. God is not punishing you with this pause. He is restoring you. He is teaching you how to exist without pressure, how to live without rushing the future, how to trust without anxiety. This rest is not temporary relief. It is preparation. Because what God is building next will require a heart that knows how to be still. In silence, you begin to notice how much pressure you were carrying. Pressure to succeed, pressure to understand, pressure to arrive somewhere faster than life allows. God never asked you to carry that weight. Silence removes false urgency. It reminds you that growth cannot be rushed, that healing takes time, that preparation is sacred. God is not late because you feel impatient. He is not slow because you feel tired. He moves at a pace that protects you. Silence slows your soul to the speed of grace. It teaches you to walk with God, not ahead of Him, to listen instead of demanding, to trust instead of controlling. In this quiet season, God is reordering priorities. He is clarifying desires. He is separating what matters from what distracts. What once felt urgent begins to lose its grip. What once felt overwhelming begins to soften. Silence simplifies. It strips life to what is essential: faith, trust, presence. These are the things that remain when everything else is quiet, and they are enough. Silence changes the way you see God. It removes expectations you placed on Him. Expectations about timing, about answers, about outcomes. You begin to realize that God is not a formula. He is a presence. He is not something you activate. He is someone you walk with. Silence deepens relationship. It moves faith from transaction to trust, from what will you do to who are you with me. God does not exist to meet deadlines. He exists to shape hearts. And in silence, your heart learns how to listen, not for instructions, not for guarantees, but for reassurance, for peace, for alignment. Silence trains you to recognize God without words, without signs, without constant affirmation. You begin to sense Him in stillness, in calm, in surrender. This is where faith becomes mature, not dependent on miracles, not shaken by delay, grounded, stable, rooted. Silence does not weaken faith. It strengthens it. It removes what is shallow and leaves what is real. And what remains is enough to carry you forward. If you are still here, know this: God has not left you in this silence. He has been walking with you through every quiet moment, through every unanswered question, through every night that felt longer than expected. You were never alone. Even when you felt unseen, even when nothing changed, God was present, working quietly, preparing gently, protecting carefully. One day, this silence will make sense. One day, you will look back and understand why waiting was necessary, why slowing down mattered, why trust had to grow before blessings arrived. Until then, you are allowed to rest. You are allowed to stop striving. You are allowed to breathe. God is not in a hurry, and He is not asking you to rush either. Remain still. Remain faithful. Remain open. What God is preparing will come at the right time. And when it does, you will realize silence was never emptiness. It was love at work, quietly, faithfully, perfectly. God is working in silence. If this prayer brought you peace, you're welcome to subscribe.